Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy Siskin. I'm the author of the Jazz Piano Fundamentals series. I'm the author of Playing Solo Jazz Piano. And I'm the author of the newish book, Solo Standards for Piano. These are 8 really great jazz piano arrangements for you to play that will help reinforce your knowledge and your love of jazz, I hope. And today I want to talk about something I feel a little bit weird talking about, but I wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't think it was relevant, which is about breathing. Now, this isn't going to be some weird hippie video, but it is, I think, a very common thing for students of all kinds of different piano music to hold their breath while they play. And this is something that I have struggled with in my own playing, and I just got off a Zoom call where a couple of students were talking about that they were realizing that they were not breathing while they were playing. And of course, this is bad for all kinds of reasons. If we do it for too long, we die. I haven't had that happen to any students yet. Fingers crossed. I'm not insured for that. But, the less we breathe, the less oxygen is going to the brain, the less clearly we can think, right? And we want to get used to breathing while we play. So I've got 3 tips. None of them is that profound, but I've got a really fun exercise that goes with the 3rd tip. So let's get into it. Let's start breathing. Are you breathing right now? I also am getting over COVID right now, so I'm really worried I'm going to have a coughing fit during this video. So, fingers crossed. So first tip, isn't just good for breathing. It's good for a lot of things pianistically, which is to sing your melodies. This could be your improvised melodies. It could just be the melody of your piece. You could also sing the top note of your comping. When we're singing, of course, we have to breathe. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to have enough air to sing. I will demonstrate. If you've been following this channel for any time at all, I am no singer, but I can grunt, I can squeal, I can make some sounds. So if I'm playing the Days of Wine and Roses, you get the idea? Doesn't matter if I'm that accurate with pitches, right? What matters is I'm expressing the rhythm and the kind of gesture of the line through my singing. Same thing if I'm comping on the Days of Wine and Roses. Now, I've talked with some professional jazz musicians. I talk with a lot of professional jazz musicians, okay? I've talked with some real jazz legends like John Clayton, Jeff Hamilton, Lewis Nash, and one of the things that they said to me was that when they're in the back at a rhythm section, accompanying a horn player or a singer, they said it's like what was the word they used? It's like being in a factory or something, because everybody's singing or groaning along with their parts. The drummer's back there going ting ting ka-ting ting ka-ting. The bass player's boom doo 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 doo. The piano player's doing what I just did. So this is a real thing that the jazz legends do. They sing along with both their melodies and their comping. And one great effect of that, at least, is that it forces you to breathe. Second thing to do is to plan your breaths. So you don't necessarily have to sing, but breathe every time you are starting a melodic phrase. So if I'm playing Days of Wine and Roses, I'm going to force myself to breathe each time I go into a phrase. I love that because it makes me more conscious of my phrasing too. And same thing with if I'm improvising, if I'm planning my breathing, I need to be playing in reasonable phrases or else I'm not going to get those breaths in. You might have noticed that I'm breathing with my nose. I know this is so weird to talk about on a piano channel, but my general impression is that good singers breathe in through their nose and out through their mouth. Obviously, you breathe out through your mouth if you're singing, but even if not, in through the nose, out through the mouth, that's kind of what I would practice. Okay, so you could plan your breath, and this is particularly true if you're playing classical music. All the time, I'm writing in breathe before a really tough passage, because what generally happens when you're facing a difficult passage is you stress, and then you clam up and you hold your breath, and it makes it all the more difficult. It makes it nearly impossible to play the passage correctly. So if you're playing, let's say, and then here comes the scale passage. I know I didn't play the right notes, but before you get to that difficult passage, inhale and then use that time to exhale. It'll make everything slightly easier. It's not going to make you the greatest pianist of all time instantaneously, but it'll take some of the edge off. All right, and then here's my fun game, is that you can practice different breathing exercises while you play. And the one that I like to do for myself and my students reinforces a 4-bar phrase. And this is going to depend on tempo. If it's faster, you might want to double this, or if it's slower, you might want to half it. But basically, the idea, let me just think for a second. Yeah, so you're going to breathe in for 4 beats, hold for 4 beats, out for 4 beats, and hold for 4 beats. So let's try it before we play. Just do a couple rounds of in, hold, out, hold. So 1, 2, in, first, ready, and 2. Okay, right. That's probably slower than one would normally breathe, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of a meditative thing. At least that's what I think. This might not be for you at all, in which case stop watching the video. It's cool. It doesn't have to be for you. So now the challenge is to do this while you're playing. So I'm going to play the Days of Wine and Roses, and I'm going to keep going. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. So starting with in. Notice I'm still going in through my mouth, in through my nose, out through my mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for me, that takes a lot of focus. I'm not able to focus quite as much on my playing. But it gets me in this kind of nice zone where I'm thinking about this long phrase. I'm thinking about my breathing. I'm thinking about breathing in and out slowly. So it gets me into a nice place. And then you could do that same thing while you're improvising. And I think you'll probably find that you improvise a little bit differently. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. started getting a little bit behind there towards the end. But I feel like focusing on that breathing makes me less inclined to try to like really impress with what I'm playing. I'm just kind of trying to get into the flow of things as I'm improvising. So those are 3 tips to help you remember to breathe when you play. I know it sounds really basic and really silly, but it is really important, and it's something that a ton of pianists struggle with because our instrument is not related to breath. All right, if you made it this far, why don't you say something about meditation, being a yogi, anything of that respect in the chat. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all soon.